Welcome to CramerSez. CramerSez. Be part of the show at CramerSez.com. Interact on Twitter at CramerSez. Now, Kramer Says.
Welcome. My name is Kramer. This is the Kramer Says podcast. It is Tuesday, March 28th, and we are being broadcast live right now across all kinds of really cool new modern technologies like Rumble, YouTube, Twitter, and TikTok. The TikTok platform that's in trouble right now with Congress and some people. If you want to call into the show, you can. The phone lines are open now at 877-619-3899. That's 877-619-3899. If you get through, hold on, we will get to you. If you hear me talking, then through your phone, then you know that you're on and ready to go next. Kramer Says is brought to you by Tusk. If you didn't know about that, Tusk is the free speech browser and search engine. You can learn more about that at tuskbrowser.com. Or if you want to learn about how to invest in what Tusk is doing, get behind them, put some money in there, maybe be at the same ground level as, when Google or Amazon or one of those started off. You never know. You can do that at WeFunder.com/Tusk. Tomorrow night's guest, believe it or not, it's TikTok famous dumb bricklayer. He'll be in here tomorrow night to get the show started with us. So that should be fun. Tonight, let's talk about viral videos. Now, for those of you that are jumping on here on TikTok, you can't see it. You can only hear what we're going to play, but you can play along because what they say is the majority of what we're making fun of. If you want to see it, you got to get onto TikTok. I'm sorry, you got to get onto Twitter, YouTube, or Rumble to see the broadcast. YouTube, Twitter, or Rumble. This is a young lady who is, she's made quite a few videos in the last couple of weeks on TikTok. She goes by Cat Mabu, Katmabu. Free speech is her mission. And she's going to use the power of her voice to silence yours. She goes through all kinds of measures of things that you can do and to silence the other side, those that she doesn't like. And she's just as committed to her mission as she is to silence your voice as she is wrong on what free speech really means, and that's dangerous. Take a listen.
Over the last week, we have talked a lot about Fox News, how it gets away with misinformation, why it's not regulated.
Whoa. Let's stop you right there. What did she say back there? She said that why isn't Fox News regulated? Let's hear that again.
A lot about Fox News, how it gets away with misinformation, why it's not regulated.
The reason it's not regulated is because of what you're fighting for. It's called free speech. Maybe you've heard of it. Maybe you haven't. I don't know. But to sit here and tell me that you want to use your free speech to silence my voice, I'm not going to sit here and take to it kindly. Let's let her continue here.
It makes its money. But finally, we're at the most important question. How can I fight back against Fox and misinformation?
That's a great question. She's going to tell you. Listen closely here. She's going to tell you how you can fight back against misinformation, disinformation by silencing other people's voices. Listen carefully.
Information. And there's good news. There are so many ways to help, and your voice is crucial. Advertisers are a key source of revenue for Fox News.
They're basically the only form or source of revenue. Advertisers. That's it. So what she's saying is we're going to cut them off at the knees, boycott them, whatever. But they're not upset and saying they're not going to use the product of somebody that they don't like. And what I mean by that is they're not going to go to Prada and say, hey, Prada, don't advertise on Fox. No, they're just going to go to the people who choose to advertise on Fox and threaten to cancel them, take action against them. These are the measures that she's talking about here. Listen carefully.
Some of them have dropped from certain shows like Tucker, but they're still supporting Fox's overall mission by advertising on the channel at all. Check out dropfox.com/advertisers for a list of Fox News' leading advertisers, as well as their Facebook, Twitter, and media emails.
So all their voices, everywhere they have a voice, everywhere they have something, go to that source and silence it. That's what she's saying. They don't deserve a voice. And by the way, it's really important when you're listening to influencers to know who they are and where their funding or financing is coming from. Okay. I'm independently wealthy. I do this on my own because I love to do it. That's why I pop in and pop out, and I don't ask for a lot of shit. I'm not demanding that you buy this or that because I don't have to. But you want to pay close attention to what she says here. And one of the organizations she's about to mention, and then you'll understand why she's saying what she's saying. Here she goes.
Write a message to any of these companies and tell them to stop advertising on a channel that promotes misinformation, hate, and fear. Subscriber fees are also a massive moneymaker for Fox. Right now, if you have cable, you are being forced to financially support Fox News.
No, you're not. You're not being forced to do anything. You don't have to have the product at all. And you don't have to watch Fox. It's part of a package deal. You see, there's some channels that I don't like on these platforms either. I don't watch the Lifetime channel. Never have, never will. Not my demo, but I pay for it. But I'm not going to go to the sponsors and say I want them gone because I don't like their content. I just live and let live. Isn't that what Wings and Paul McCartney said? She continues.
But we talked about this before. The pressure is working. DirecTV has stood up to Fox News when Fox tried to jack up their rates. That is a major development, but it's just the start. Cable providers need to know that you don't want to be forced to pay for Fox News.
Now, and again, you're not being forced. You do not have to use the service. It's a choice.
You should be allowed to opt out. Contact your service provider and tell them you don't want to pay the Fox fee. And in the meantime, sign up for updates with Media Matters no Fox fee.
There you go.
The Check My Ad Institute is also defunding some of the biggest voices in election disinformation, including Fox News Digital. You can find out more on their website as well as tangible actions you can take to help with their campaigns. But this isn't all just writing emails and sending letters.
Okay, tell us what it is.
Is a group that protests every Tuesday at the Fox News HQ in New York.
So they actually show up.
You can join that group even if you aren't in New York. Their website has resources so you can set up protests in your own town. But you can also help fight Fox's misinformation by talking to the people in your life. Whether it's spreading the word about subscriber fees or de-radicalizing a loved one, everyone has a voice in this fight.
You're going to de-radicalize a loved one. That's a two-way street, sweetheart. It just is. You can't say that everybody who's counter to your concepts of what is right and wrong and what should be done that's the ideology that we all follow, and that we're not going to fight back with that a little bit. It doesn't make any sense what you're saying, because what you're saying is that use your speech to silence theirs, not to counter what they're saying, not to debate them on the best ideas possible. Silence them. Silence them. That's it. That's today's generation. That's what they think. And you know, folks, if you think that it's going to get any better, it's not. It's only going to get worse. Now, when she was going through there, did she mention Media Matters? She did. I told you that it was important to know who people are, where the message is coming from, who's paying them, and the excuses they'll make and the justifications that they'll take. And, well, let me just put it this way. There's more.
So the TikTok I posted yesterday triggered a lot of Republicans.
Oh.
Oops. But this gives me the perfect opening to talk about how right-wingers don't know what free speech is.
She's right. I agree with her. In the last 6 to 7 to 8 years, she's absolutely right. Right-wingers do not know what free speech is. They've been silenced on every platform and attacked by agencies of the government, including the IRS, Lois Lerner's little group. So no, we don't know what free speech is. We have no idea what it is because of the censorship that we get on a daily basis on all platforms, including this one right here that we're streaming on live right now, TikTok. Always waiting for the account to go down. Always waiting for, what did we say? What did we say wrong? It wasn't a Whoopi Goldberg. Whoopi Goldberg, just a couple days ago in The View, she must have been joking around because she was asking for anyone, to get a hold of these woke people and write a book or something. Write it all down. What can we say and what can't we say? Give us all the permissions of everything that we can say, how we say it, and what we call people. Write it all down because she wants to get back to being funny, and she can't be funny right now because she doesn't know what she's allowed to make fun of and what she isn't. So she wants a rule book that is going to be created by a group of people that tells her what she can and can't say. You see, Whoopi, they've already cut you to the chase. The founding fathers already did that. They wrote you not a book. They didn't need a book. They just needed one sheet of paper. And at the top of that piece of paper, it said, you have the right to say whatever the fuck you want to say. You don't need permission from the woke crowd. on what you can and can't say. You don't have to wait for them to give you permission to speak. She goes on, though. It gets dumber. Listen.
I was on vacation for most of last week, so I prepared a 7-part series.
7 parts. There are 7 parts to this. Yes, we will try to keep up.
About some of the most common myths about Fox News.
Okay,
the last episode, which I posted yesterday, had ideas and resources for you to combat Fox News' misinformation. This included contacting advertisers and cable companies.
Okay, so those aren't really resources. Those are just saying, hey, we want them silenced. A resource is, hey, if you get this group of people here, maybe they can get together with this group of people here and we have a conversation and come to, some kind of, compromise. But again, that's not what she talks about here. She doesn't talk about how do we come up with better ideas, better solutions. She talks about how do we silence the opposition. Is that what our founding fathers fought for? Is that why they said at the top of the Constitution, it says at the top, the very first thing, the most important thing is what she's saying that you shouldn't have because she doesn't like it. She wants anything that has to do with anything that you like, regardless of whether you like Fox or not. And I'm not the biggest fan of Fox News or the Murdoch family. But I don't agree with this. Just like I don't agree with going in and doing what just happened in Tennessee. Nashville, Tennessee, I don't agree with that. We've got to do something about that. And I think it's coming to a head. I think that people are starting to realize that it's more than just, it's a gun, it's a big mean gun. No, it's a mental health issue. Because that's the excuse they use every time when we find out that the person who went in, had left-leaning ideologies. Well, it's just mental health. The Republicans don't care about mental health. Yeah, we do. But you don't want to do anything about it. Because you want everybody to be able to walk the streets and do whatever they want. But I digress. With that being said, let's get back to this. Let's get back to this young lady and how she feels about your free speech and why she feels the need to silence Fox and other news outlets, but Fox in particular.
Republicans didn't like that. I think one of my favorite responses is from this guy. If you don't know who he is, he's just a dude that complains about cancel culture on Twitter. And one time he wrote an entire thread trying to get Elon Musk to ban me. Last night, he called me a paid leftist that was making China proud and accused my TikTok of trying to cancel Fox News.
That's not
First
nice.
of all, I'm flattered. I'm 24 and Naruto is still my favorite show, but thank you for giving me so much power in your head.
Okay. Hold on. Your narcissism is showing. I'm sorry. I saw it slip out from underneath, whatever you got going on there. You might want to back down on that. Just a tad. Older generation saying you might, because that's going to come back and bite you in the ass. It always does.
Second, and far more importantly, this is an argument the right uses all the time. It makes no sense.
Okay.
So let's break it down.
Lay it on me.
To his first point, I'd like to remind everyone that this is a personal account. Yes, I work for Media Matters.
Oh, there we go. What did I tell you earlier? When she was mentioning Media Matters, it's important to know who the people who are talking to you are and the message that they're giving you and why. Oh, yeah, okay. Yes, I work at Media Matters, but that doesn't matter. That doesn't matter at all. Don't pay attention to that. No, go pay attention to the things I said over here, not to where I work and who's paying me to say these things. And yes, this is my personal account, but it would only benefit me if I would look better for the boss by doing this stuff in my extracurricular time or on lunch. But she's not going to go there.
I make these videos on my own time.
There we go.
This account is not associated with my employer. Right now it's 11:48. My shift starts at 4, which begs the question, are you mad that I'm exercising my First Amendment right?
No, we don't care when you do it. Not at all.
Despite what the right may think, free speech doesn't just apply to racial slurs.
Well, what'd she say? Did she say that they actually do apply to racial slurs? I don't ever think I've heard somebody who's a progressive ever say that one before. Let's go back and hear her say that again. What'd she say?
Are you mad that I'm exercising my First Amendment right? Despite what the right may think, free speech doesn't just apply to racial slurs.
Wow. That's an admission I didn't expect. Moving forward.
It also applies to criticisms, organizing, contacting advertisers.
Yes.
And for a party that loves capitalism, shouldn't you be glad that the free market is aligning with consumers' ideals? Or are you
Well, I don't know what now you're starting to do apples and oranges here, but I'm going to give you some latitude here. Move on.
Just mad that we're using your system against you.
You're using our system against us. I mean, the system that you're living in, all the technology that's been built, all of the gadgets you've got, the $1,000 phone that you've got in your hand shooting this with, and the Blondie t-shirt that you're wearing that is a vintage t-shirt most likely, or a repeat. You see, you buy right into everything you say that you're fighting. We saw this all in the 70s. We saw it in the 60s. We saw it in the 70s. We saw it to an extent in the 80s. And then it started to come back with grunge in the 90s. And now these boomers don't have anything to do with their time. And now they're diving right back into it. And they've got these young people deluded thinking that she's doing something by making videos on TikTok saying that she's countering everything on the planet when she's utilizing everything that capitalism has to offer. She's not living in a hovel. No, she's got designer clothes on. Got her hair cut. Got makeup on. And not just basic makeup. No, she's very stylized. So she's benefited from capitalism because if you really don't care about it, then give everything away. Live the lifestyle, but they don't. They just want you to, she continues.
Do you actually care about free speech, or are you going to ban an app that millions of Americans rely on for their voice, their business? Which is it? Why don't you?
Okay, well, hold on. Nobody, the Republicans aren't wanting to ban TikTok to silence American voices. Yeah, you see, here's the confusion, is that this is a Chinese-owned platform. For all of those of you who are defending Ukraine right now, and we've got to go give money and battle and fight Russia, how would you like Russia to have a platform like TikTok that was just as popular as TikTok is, that was broadcasting whatever they wanted into the homes of 150 million Americans on a daily basis? How would that be? How would it be if Russia were doing it right now? Because we don't like Russia at the moment. Right now, they're the bad guy. But China's okay. China, the ones who said that they basically want to become the dominant world power, they're okay. You're okay with them being in here. Now, don't get me wrong. I don't want the federal government, our government, any government in free speech. I don't want them telling me what I can and can't say. Do you? Why would you fight, be upset about what you learned from the Twitter files, what the FBI was doing? Why would that upset you? But then you go fight for the Chinese to be able to do the exact same thing to you. And by the way, there's no way to go and complain to anybody in China and say, hey, listen, my rights have been restricted. Then again, maybe I'm thinking too deeply into that. She continues.
Use these same tactics. You organize. Y'all are still using the Keurig machines in your office and taking your kids to Disneyland.
No.
Nobody is stopping you from
You're right.
contacting those companies. That's your First Amendment right. And companies should be able to decide if they want to support that as well. Despite what the GOP tells you, there is nothing in the Constitution saying that companies have to support Fox News. And because of the First Amendment, I can say it as much as I want.
And that right there is the only thing she said in that entire rant that was true. The rest of it was idiocy. It's almost like there's a if you're familiar with printing, there's a tool called Lorem Ipsum, and when you're designing text items with text in them, it lets you to see what the height of the line height is and the spread of the letters. It's a design issue, so you want to put this basic text in there, but it has to look like words, otherwise it looks like shit. And there's this tool called Lorem Ipsum. It's an awesome tool, and there's one that I really like that's called Corporate Ipsum. If you've never heard of it, go check it out. It's awesome because what they do is they use corporate slang to string together a number of series of different words and paragraphs, and it sounds like it's a sentence. Overreaching, I can't remember off the top of my head what one of those sentences were, but it doesn't matter. Every sentence looks like it could be a sentence, and you can read it, and that's what these people sound like to me. Just spouting off buzzwords that they've connected together. Like, well, I'm on my own time right now. I'm doing this on my own time. We should probably focus on the fact that is, me exercising my free speech. You have a problem with that? No, the problem is that you have a problem with us exercising our free speech. And you don't want to just come up with better ideas. You don't want to come up with something new. You don't want to come up with something exciting. You just want to silence the other side. Well, that's because you guys are misinformation. You're disinformation. Really? Got to tell you, not a single news outlet in the last 3 years can brag about being 100% truthful at any time in the last 3 years. They've all spread misinformation and disinformation across the board. Right, left, center, don't care. They've gotten it wrong time and time and time and time again. Well, it wasn't malicious. Prove it. I'm tired of having to prove that mine isn't malicious, but somehow NBC, ABC, MSNBC, PBS, Fox, that they get a pass. They get more free speech than I get. Somehow what they're saying is more important. Well, it carries more weight. No, it doesn't. That's not what free speech is based on. Not who's saying it. That's why I think it's important that we look at other creators. We look at what they're saying out there. We listen to their arguments, like we're doing right now. I call this one here the farmer in the Dale. This dude wants to talk about mass shootings and mass incarcerations and tie them together. This is why some people should not have access to the internet.
Have we talked about the connection between mass shootings and mass incarceration?
No.
And why those two things are linked and not the way you probably think they are?
No.
Now, look, I'm a cis, straight, white, male, American.
Okay. What did he say there? Let's go back and let's Charlie. Let's do that back up again. What did he say again there? Let's start this from the beginning.
Between mass shootings and mass incarceration, and why those two things are linked and not the way you probably think they are. Now, look, I'm a cis, straight, white, male.
That's what I thought he said. Yeah, that's what I thought he said. Okay, so what he's going to say from here on out, I've got a little bit of prejudice. Because now he's going to talk about gun rights and mass incarceration, and he's going to convolute two different issues into what his structure is. Now, listen carefully, because I want to be real clear. Based on his incredible lack of logic here, he may actually be a victim. He may be a victim of what he's talking about, and we're just unaware of it at this point. Listen carefully.
American farmer, right? This is my orchard right here behind me. So yep. I fall in the demographic who would probably be, defending that guns don't kill people, whatever. No, false. That's actually not where I land.
Well, I guessed that. I'm ahead of you. I hate to say this, but I'm not a mind reader. But when you said that you're a cis white male, that kind of gave it away what the rest of your argument was going to be. But I'm going to let you go through it. So do your best here, buddy.
But that's not what we're here to talk about. When we allow mass shootings to happen at our schools, and we are allowing it, it gives us permission to lock down our schools, add armed security to those schools.
Okay. When things happen, that's not giving them permission. There was a man in New York. The video was all over TikTok over the last couple of days that was stabbed to death outside at a restaurant. Did we let that happen? You see, when evil people want to do evil things, you're not going to get in their path. You're not going to stop them. If they're intent on what they want to do, it's going to happen. So it's not allowing it to happen. Can we do things to restrict it? Yes, we can. And it has a lot more to do with managing people's mental health, that we restrict the rights of the people probably most dangerous to society, which are rich with a rich history. And at some point we say, you know what? I know you're a free human being, but you're too dangerous for society, and we've got to put you back in an insane asylum. And we used to do that. But they came forward and they said, no, you can't do that. You can't lock up people. They haven't committed a crime. You're absolutely right. But the problem that we have right now is we've got instance after instance where we do have evidence of these people committing crimes time and time and time again. And again, I'm not blaming it on them. I'm blaming it on us. I'm blaming it on a system that allows the sick to languish in the streets and have to commit crimes to be able to be housed, to be able to be fed, to get medical service, medical treatment. That's the system, the way it's set up right now. Now, what would be better? I don't think we had to return to the history of the snake pits, if you remember that. If you've ever seen that documentary, it was horrendous. No, we can't return to that. But we should be able to house and aid our most vulnerable, and we can't do it unless we look at the issue head on, and we don't convolute it like this young man's doing here. He continues.
Put perimeters around those schools, start treating those schools like they're already a prison. Then, when kids misbehave, when kids don't have bright hope for their future, they're already preconditioned to be in these incredibly stressful lockdown situations and have to perform academically and socially in prison-like conditions, which when we arrest them on minor misdemeanors and charge them overdue sentences, they become very compliant prisoners. And this is exactly what we're trying to do in our country, and it's a problem.
That may be one of the stupidest things I've ever heard. We'll be right back after this. Welcome back. My name is Kramer. This is the CramerSez podcast. It is Monday. No, it's Tuesday. I gotta get this right. Yeah, it's Tuesday, March 28th. I am so bad with dates. I really am. Hey, one of the things that took off today on TikTok, I thought was kind of funny, was that I put a little promo together for the thing that we're doing live at 10 o'clock on Rumble, YouTube, and Twitter every weekday night. And it kind of took off, and I thought it was funny, so I thought I would share here. And then what I wanted to do, if I can, let me see if I can bring this up real quick. I got to get this. I did not set this up prior, so let me see if I can find it really quick. I want to read some of the comments, because some of the comments from this video were over the top. They were hilarious, and so I wanted to bring a few of them in. Let me see if I can get to this here. Oh, that's me coming in. I don't want that. I want me. I want my actual account. I don't want the live. There we go. Let's see here. For those that are watching at home and so on, I'm actually streaming on TikTok as well. Let me get this video up and see if I can find it here. Yeah, it's okay. There we go. I've got it. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna do it, and then I'm gonna go to the comments. I had to find it here so we could go to the comments. This is the video. Enjoy.
We did it, Joe.
So that I love doing that kind of shit. And that was a lot of fun. So got a lot of views on it, but the responses were awesome. By the way, the phone lines are open. You want to call in right now? You can. Phone lines are open. 877-619-3899. 877-619-3899. It's a toll-free call. Doesn't cost you a thing. I'll pick up the dime. Let your fingers do the walking, and that way we can do some talking. The comments are here. Here we go. It would be a lot funnier if it weren't true. Facts. Perfect. Yep, we did it. Now let's get some chocolate chip ice cream and celebrate. That's where our nation is at right now, folks. People have no hope, no faith, no nothing in the system anymore. And it doesn't have to do with the entire system. It has to do with the leadership at the top. The people in the White House, the people in your state house, your state capitol. What have they done for you? We've been talking about it for the last week or so here of, how do we revolt? And how do you have a revolution? Well, you've got to start with a revolution of thought. That's how you start a revolution. Revolution of thought is saying, listen, these are the boundaries. We're not doing this anymore. And we're gonna start doing things differently. And the way that we do that is that we vote for anyone but the incumbent in the next election, because we've got one more left in us. We saw what happened in 2020. We see the problem still going on with 2022. Months, weeks and months before we know what's going on in our elections. It's amazing to me. It's amazing to me that people don't pick up on that. They just move on to the next thing. If you want change in this country, you're going to have to start changing the paradigm. And the paradigm is stop voting in the guys that are already there causing the problem. We know who they are, what they are. You're live on CramerSez. What's your name and where are you calling from? Go ahead and turn on your radio if you get it on. Can you turn it down? There we go.
There we go.
Nope.
Nope.
Here we go.
Here we go.
Okay. Well, we'll move on to the next caller. Lines are open right now at 877-619-3899, 877-619-3899. Like I'm saying, if you think you're going to get a different outcome from the politicians that we currently have in-house, if you think that that's going to happen, you think they're going to suddenly change and do something different than they've been doing for the last 20, 30, 40, 50 years. You think that's going to happen because you voted for them one more time and this time they promised? Has Lindsey Graham delivered on any of the things that he said he was going to deliver on? Any of the investigations, any of the stuff that he was going to call for as a senator? Has he done it? Rack your brain. Take a moment here. No, he didn't. While you're thinking about that, we'll go to the phones. You're live on Kramer Says. What's your name? And well, they just hung up. By the way, if you call in and you hear my voice, that means you're on next. So if it just rings, that means you got a problem. If it just rings through, it'll go to voicemail, or you'll get through to me. If you get through to me, when you hear my voice on here, the producer puts you through. When you hear my voice, you're on live and you're on next. So hopefully that's it. The number to call is 877-619-3899. My name is Kramer. This is the CramerSez podcast. We do this every weekday night at 10 p.m. on YouTube, Twitter, and Rumble. And we'd like to talk to the country about what's going on. A lot of what I do is I talk all day long. And I started telling the guys, I want to start hearing from what America really wants to say, and not just on social media, but what they're really thinking in their heart. You're live on Kramer Says. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Kramer,
hey,
Peter G from the Peter G Show. I've been watching you for a while, trying to get a hold of you because I really dig the fact that you don't hold back. What's it going to take to get you on my show?
Well, it just happened. It just happened.
Well, I'm on your show. You're right, But because I've been watching on TikTok.
Well, we can do it the other way around. You just ask, and I just told you, yeah, I'll do it. So that's how fast it happened.
Cool. I dig it. Just give me a way to get a hold of you when you're off air. But I just want to tell you and whoever's listening again, you don't hold back, and I dig the hell out of it because you actually know what you're talking about. But trying to reach these people that will never get it, it's almost impossible.
I don't talk to them. That's not who it's for. It's for the people who are on the edge, or those that are starting to see the bullshit for what it is. I mean, I think it's amazing that we've got TikTok right now that the left and the right have come together over an issue. Now they're confused on why they're coming together because they've been driven to that message. But with that being said, they came together and they didn't even realize how easy it was. We can do this on more things. We just got to be aligned for the right things. We can't be aligning because the Chinese government says, "Hey, let's get them aligned so it'll look good." Because that's what's happening.
What's your thoughts on the whole TikTok?
I think, listen, I don't want the federal government banning any social media platform in the United States that is United States owned and operated. I do have a problem with the Chinese government having a platform that is Chinese government owned and operated, or at least managed, with access potentially, not potentially, up until the Texas bill is done, they've got access to all of our data. So, what could that do? Now, people will say, well, Kramer, it's insane. There's no way that they could do anything that's going to make me do anything. Really? Remember that play that Orson Welles did a few years ago, back in the 30s? Where it was produced so well. It was called War of the Worlds. It was produced so well that people actually committed suicide. Imagine if within just a 2 to 3 hour period, you could feed the American public, 150 million people, over half the population, with one consistent message of whatever. Everybody gets it. You're doing a dance video, you get the recipe video, and then boom, this message. And it's of something catastrophic, that something's breaking down, or something's happened, or somebody's been, off, whatever. They control that. That's a foreign adversary that controls that ability inside the U.S. It's not a free speech issue, people. It's a national security issue. So that's my point. That's my viewpoint on it.
I get it. But I want to say that back then with War of the Worlds, it was a different time, but it's pretty profound how they're almost recreating it now.
Well, that's it. It may have been a different time, Peter, but people aren't different. People get scared.
Yeah.
Look at what happened in the last 3 years. People wanted to rip other people's children out of their homes if they didn't do what the other group thought would save their life and keep them safe. Don't tell me that people aren't the same as they are in the 1930s, that they can't just be just as scared and they can't be whipped up into the same kind of frenzy. I saw it happen. We just saw it happen.
Oh no, it's happening.
Right?
It's happening.
So that's why, in my opinion, that's why TikTok needs to be banned in the U.S. as a security threat. And here's the thing: Kevin O'Leary was on Fox News today, and he made the comment that, well, maybe if they sell off 51% of it, nope, the Chinese cannot have anything to do with it. It's one or done. And here's the other thing: even if they sold it and said, okay, we're going to get rid of the entire thing, you get it all.
Facebook?
Well, no, I wouldn't trust it. I wouldn't trust that there wouldn't be back doors.
They all have their agendas. That's my point.
Well, exactly. Well, here's the thing. I don't want the federal government in bed with TikTok, Twitter, or anybody. I don't want them in bed with any of them. They should not be. Here's the thing: if I've got to ask my government for permission, or if I've got to ask a proxy of my government for permission to speak, I don't really have the right to speak, do I? If I have to get permission from them, same with the Second Amendment. No. If I have to go ask them for the permission in New York, California, Illinois, these states that keep passing these regressive 2A laws, if I have to ask when you do you go to the police in the morning and ask them for permission to speak during the day?
No,
I don't. Why are gun rights? Well, because it can hurt people. You say the words are violence too. That's why they want to sign it. It's all about control. It has nothing to do with the real threat. Right, Peter? I mean, that's what we know. How old are you, if you don't mind my asking?
60.
Okay, so I'm 57. Did you ever think when you were 18, 19 years old that this is where we would be in the nation at this point in your life?
Honestly, when I was that age, I never thought about any of this stuff because it really wasn't, though there was a share of issues back then, it was nothing like this. I never thought I'd even get involved in the political aspect of this whole deal, especially when I did my show. I said, no religion, no politics. It's impossible to keep it out of the system.
Exactly. I had a young man tell me that, well, he couldn't do something because it would involve politics. And I go, all things are politics. Everything is. My dad was a minister and worked with evangelical churches all throughout the United States. And if you don't think that that's political, if you don't think that the church is political, just as political as U.S. Congress, it is.
It's gotten, all of it's gotten so intense that it's just, if I did not start speaking up occasionally, depending on on the timing, that I am doing myself and anybody an injustice, whether they like what I had to say or not.
Exactly. And that's what I keep saying, is that these young people come forward and they want to silence the other side. They don't want to have a conversation with them. They just don't want to hear from them. And they cannot be right. They cannot be 100% right about everything. You cannot be 100% right about everything. You have to listen to others for their input. You have to.
Nowadays, everybody's just a headline reader and they just run with it, and that's it.
Well, exactly. And then here's the worst part, is the people who just read the headline and then go on to believe that. We saw plenty of that over the last 2 to 3 years. We saw it time and time again, where we would hear something said by Fauci or something said by Birx or something said by Trump. And then they would say, well, he said, put bleach in your veins. He didn't ever say that. He never said that.
I get it.
Remember?
Again,
this game that they're playing. Well, the game that they're playing, here's the thing. How do we counter it, Peter? In your opinion, how do we counter it? How do we showcase what it is? What do we do or what don't we do? Because I think not doing something is just as powerful as doing something.
Oh no, that's a fact. But a lot of people say, well, what do you want me to do? And I mean, I took it just like you. I'm voicing my opinion, but again, a lot of people do nothing, and a lot of people just say, you know what, it doesn't matter. It's not affecting my life. They think that nothing's affecting their life, and they just go about their business.
Not today. I'll give you a great example. You just said it yourself, Peter. At 18 years old, you couldn't give two shits about what was going on. I'm sure that there are a ton of 18-year-olds that can't give two shits about what's going on right now. If you could go back to your 18-year-old self and give your 18-year-old self some advice as to what you should do to protect yourself and protect your rights, what would you tell yourself at 18 years old? The 60-year-old version of you, what would you tell 18-year-old Peter today?
Well, it's funny because, most of the time when I was growing up, it'd be college students and stuff that were doing the protesting and all that kind of thing for whatever they felt, whether it was right or wrong, But again, we're in different times now. I mean, my 17-year-old's got more common sense than half the people my age.
Well, that's
kidding.
a fact.
I don't know where she got it from.
At least half of Congress.
Well, I didn't plant it. I didn't put it in her head. She just took the initiative to figure out what's going on, which I'm very proud of in a way. And I thank God for it, because, the last thing you want to do is be going into battle with your own family, which many families do because of this stuff.
Yep. Well, because of what's going on right now, the silliness that's happening. And by the way, when you do your research, you find out very quickly that what we're going through, what we're experiencing is planned. It's not happening. It's not just happenstance. We can see the plan. We can talk to people who set it in place 25, 35, 45 years ago, and they're going, yep, this part is played out. This part is played out. Look at what Henry Kissinger has been saying and the work that he's been doing with the Rockefeller Foundation since the 70s. They told us back then what they were going to do. They told us back then what they wanted.
But see, as the 18-year-old back then, I would have never, thought of that, because I would have said, why would the news lie to you? And this is what's happening with people now. And I question everything now. I don't even trust my own doctors.
No. And well, we just played a young lady who came on. She gives you a spiel. And by the way, what I do and what others do, that's the new news today. This is the stuff that people can kind of get some, reliability on, because there isn't money behind us, except for these paid influencers. And she comes on and she says, well, you got to do this, this, and this, and go against Fox. And here's all these resources, and go do this and call this number. And she never mentions that she works for Media Matters. And that's what she does for her job, is what she's doing. Yeah. And so I think that we have to come forward. I'm self-funded. I don't make a dime from anybody, from anything that I say or do. And I've tried to tell people that, and they go, well, how can you do that? How can you do that? I've got a great fucking job. I own my own business. I can do whatever the fuck I want to do. My day is mine. And so when I want to spend the day looking at researching something on ESG, or I want to spend a week diving into videos of Yuval Harari and what he's saying, I have the time and the ability to do that. Sorry that you don't. But the fact that I do should be used as a resource and not looked at or questioned. I'm giving you the information, in my opinion. Here's the beautiful thing about it. You can go do your own research, right? People can go do their own research. They don't have to listen to me. They can just take what I've given them and say, that's either bullshit and I'm going to prove them wrong, or that sounds interesting. Let's go look into it.
But that's the thing. If you could put it right under their nose, and they still won't take the time to do it. They won't.
Here's the thing, Peter, it doesn't matter. I'll always be right. They'll always be wrong. Until they disprove me, I'll always be right. They'll always be wrong. You've got to disprove me. You can't just silence me. You've got to disprove me. And all they want to do is silence us. They want to silence us instead of disprove us.
Oh, then they cut you off too, and they just go, "What the hell with you? Get off my! I don't want you to be on my friends list or this and that," because they don't have anything to say. Just
that's the nice way they do it. They generally just call you a racist, and then they block you.
Well, all the above, however you want to put it. It's all roads lead to one.
I'll tell you what, Peter.
Look,
go ahead.
I just want to know how to get a hold of you, because I'm dead serious. I need I need a third party to validate the things you say, so to reach my people as well. And I love what you do. And I don't know, everything happens for a reason. I just happened to be flipping through and saw you, and I said, I'm calling that son of a bitch.
Well, you got in. Glad you called. You can always hit us up at syndication@CramerSez.com. In fact, if you've got anything that you want to say or leave or whatever, you can always do it there. Syndication@CramerSez.com. CramerSez is CramerSez. Peter, thanks for calling in tonight. Have a great evening. Moving on, we are moving on to the next caller. Lines open at 877-619-3899. 877-619-3899. Got about 15 more minutes to go, and we'll be right back after this word from our sponsor, Tusk Browser, the free speech browser built by conservatives for conservatives. We're back. Okay, my name is Kramer. It is it's Kramer Live. CramerSez Live. We're live right now on TikTok. We're also live on Twitter, YouTube, and Rumble. You can join us at 877-619-3899. We've got a caller on the line. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Hi, Kramer. This is Francis from Nevada. How are you tonight?
I'm doing well, Francis. How are you? What's on your mind?
I'm terrific. Well, I have a question.
Lay it on me.
Do you think with all of this craziness that President Trump is going to be assassinated or somebody's going to try to assassinate him?
I hope to God not. I think that would be the wrong move. I think that you'd have a lot of problems in this nation if that were to be the case. I hope to God not.
Well, I hope not too, but I wonder with his lack of security detail, because they've pulled so many of his Secret Service off, I wonder to myself if there's not some sort of long-term plan. They can't get him arrested. They can't get him indicted. Isn't the next level assassination? Isn't that what they did with JFK?
Well, that's what it appears to be. That's what they say. The FBI kind of says, well, we had our hands in that shit. Yeah, I've talked about it time and time again, is that they cannot allow Trump to be president you can't allow him to be president in 24. He can't win. They're not going to allow it to happen. So this thought, and this is why I'm saying this thought process that we can do this through elections without doing something different. Here's the thing. We go in on all the incumbents, and we go in and we vote for everybody who isn't an incumbent. And people go, I don't want to do that. I don't, but it's time, because we can't count on the people that are already there. We've got to get people on board that fully understand and are pledging that when they go in, they'll do the things that we actually want. But we can't get that from the people that are already there. And the reason that I know that, the way that I know that, Francis, is simple. People do not change. If they haven't done it to date, I mean, Joe Biden's been in office, 48, 50 years? Something like 42 years, 46 years, something like that, right? Been there a long fucking time. And he hasn't done any of the things he said he was going to do. And the things that he's done has turned out to be disastrous.
But you can't expect the people who created the problem to try and fix the problem. That is a mistaken concept, and it lacks foundation to build upon it. However, I don't know that necessarily getting rid of just the fact that you're an incumbent is necessarily the right litmus test. But I do understand the sentiment.
Well, something has to be done.
Understand it.
We talked about it last night. And here's the thing. This romantic idea that some Americans have about there being some kind of revolution like we had in 1776, right, or 1812, or the Civil War, that is not going to happen. Our nation is too large for that. It's like trying to take over Europe. It's a romantic idea, not going to happen. Back in the old day, you could control the 13 colonies by basically controlling, 5 cities or their harbors. You can't control the U.S. by controlling 5 harbors today. We're a complete country. We're autonomous from everybody else on the planet. We stand alone. We are the island. So to think that we're going to have some kind of military action in this country that's going to spill into the streets, I think is ridiculous from a realistic strategy point or logistics point.
Well, I don't think it is going to spill into the streets. I think that they keep trying to create a tipping point in every sector. Now with the building of 7 new Air Force bases or military bases in the Philippines, we just approved the funding for that. So, we're building 7 new military bases in the Philippines so that we can antagonize the Chinese. It just seems like every time we turn around in every sector, it doesn't matter if it's the economy, our money supply, we're getting in trouble with BRICS. Their currency is actually backed in gold and oil. Ours is backed in debt. I mean, I can go on and on and on. So
but that
administration is creating.
But that doesn't change the fact of going back to what you were talking about of what's available to us. Right? All these issues, to get any of these issues resolved, we've got to get the people who got us into this problem out. And there's 2 paths to doing that. There's only two ways that you can do that in this country. You can do that through the ballot box, or you can do that with the bullet box. That's it. There's no other way.
Well,
I prefer the ballot box.
I'm not confident in my ability to toss a bullet in any direction and hit anything with any kind of accuracy. Plus, I'm a weak old lady, so that is just not going to work for me. But, so the ballot box is one way. I just say that it isn't necessary to just willy-nilly get rid of an incumbent. What I am saying to you
I think
is
it is. I think, no, Frances,
I've
got to disagree with you. We've tried it for too long. If they were going to do it, they would do it. I learned this a long time ago with family members and friends and girls that I liked in the past, right? If they wanted to talk to me, they would. If they wanted to hear what was going on in my life, they would reach out to me. It doesn't always have to be me being the one willing to compromise. When that happens, then I'll believe it. But they haven't done it yet. They haven't done it at this point.
Remember, like for instance, the Nevada state legislature has 6 Senate Republicans. 6. So against all, they're in a minority. They're
ineffective. They're ineffective. They're not getting shit done. They're not the party. They're not exciting the party. They're not getting anything done. Move them out. It's time, Frances. We cannot continue to, we're going to protect these 6 because that's what we have. Get them out. If they're not effective, they've got to go.
That energy at getting the Democrats out, keep those 6 Republicans.
Because they're already in the. Come on, Frances. We've been watching what's going on for the last 2 years with our nation and seeing the back scratching that's been going on from this group to this group, finding out that Fauci's ethics person, the person who gave him permission on what he could and couldn't do with the power that he had at NIAID, you know who that was, right? That was his wife. We've got to stop this bullshit. And we can't do it by keeping the same people because they haven't done it yet. That's just my opinion.
And on a level, I agree with you. What I'm saying to you is what I would prefer to see is the electorate start doing its homework on every candidate, not just the new ones and not just the incumbents. Do your homework. Your vote it matters. It's valuable. So, don't willy-nilly vote for anyone just because they're an R, a D, or an independent.
Nope, I disagree. I think that Republicans should start expecting more. And by the way, Democrats should as well. They should start expecting more.
Have you seen Jeff Jackson on TikTok? I know you love TikTok. Do you know who that is? He's a Democrat senator, I think, out of South Carolina. He's a magical guy. He's magical.
Is he the young dude with the blue eyes?
Yep.
I know who you're talking about.
He's so succinct and clear and communicates well. And he tries to take what he's doing very seriously and communicates that. Kat Kamek is another one. Utilizes social media very, very well, has kept her constituents informed every step of the way.
Okay, well,
teaches a little bit about
Frances, we can go down the entire line of people, right? We've got
but then we end up with a Lindsey Graham, who I think that we definitely should get rid of. For sure.
Okay.
We should get rid of Lindsey Graham.
Here's the thing, though. It's not just getting rid of them. It's giving them the mandate. We're going to give you the power. And when you get in there as this new incumbent or this new politician, you're not an incumbent. And I'd rather have people who've never run before, right? People like you and me. I've never run for office before, but I think that it's time that we get citizens back into these positions, and the citizens say, "Listen, I'm going to do what the founding fathers were thinking in the first place. I'm not going to come in." And I'm not going to sit in there for the next 30, 40 years. You're not going to have to take me out of this place on a gurney because I died on the floor. It's not going to happen. I'm going to give you 4, 6, or 8 years. Or what? Hold on. I'm going to give you 4, 6, or 8 years. That's what I'm going to give you. Maybe I'll give you 12. That's what it is. But the top out is 12. You're done at 12. Done. You've served 2 terms in the Senate. You've served 3 terms in. You've served 6 terms in Congress. Right. I think that that's enough. And if
look at the way things used to be done. In reality, go to Congress or serve in your state legislature was something nobody wanted to do because
there's no money in it.
2-year or 4-year period.
Because there's no money in it.
Going back and forth to their farms.
Right.
They couldn't manage their lives. So it was a real big inconvenience, and nobody saw government as a profession. It was just your turn. It was a necessity. One of the things that Virginia, the Commonwealth of Virginia, does very, very well is that in order to really bring home the idea that you should be nominated by, excuse me, by your peers, is they require petitions to be signed in large numbers. So if that person can't get their constituents to even sign a petition for them to run, I think maybe every state should take a look at needing petitions in order to get the approval of.
No, because that all comes back to money. It all comes back to money. It all comes back to money. That's the going for that is a money deal. I should have I shouldn't have to have 10,000 people say I want him to run. Because if I don't have the money to,
that keeps the bad nuts out.
No, it doesn't. I saw the Nevada. I saw the Nevada primaries. I was there for the Nevada primaries. I think what we've got to do is we've got to get Francis. I think what we've got to do is we've got to get people that are going to run for office. They're going to run. And they're going to say, "Listen, I'm going for term limits." We get in. The first thing we're going to do is term limits. Everybody, left and right.
Absolutely eliminate my First Amendment rights when it comes to my vote, and I'll never get behind term limits.
No, it doesn't. If that's the case, it
diminishes my First Amendment.
Then why don't we allow the president to run for forever like Roosevelt was? Roosevelt was in office, 12, 13 years?
Because they decided, whoever the powers that be back then decided that the president had too much power and they needed to get rid of it.
Okay, so you're saying that Nancy Pelosi.
But no, what I'm saying to you is that the state of Nevada already has term limits. And we've had to let some good people go because they termed out.
Good.
And those good people.
Good. It's their job then to go find the next person. It's their job. You and I have talked about this before, Francis, that this issue with expecting, holding on to these people for too long gives them too much power. I don't trust them. I've seen what it does. You've seen what it does. And I don't care how good they are. Milton Friedman put it best.
I don't. Especially in the state jobs, I care about those that do the job well because I've seen what the Democrat machine in this state can do to overpower the good guys.
And how have they done that? How have they done that in the state of Nevada? How have they done that in the state of Nevada? How have they clinched onto that power and held onto that power? How have they done it? By not having term limits that gets the people, because they run from one office to another. It's incestuous. You shouldn't be able to run. You shouldn't be able to run for 4 or 5 offices.
That is true about this state. The retreads, the guys that run for office just because they want to be elected to something, so they run for every office.
And we've got them in Indiana as well.
This state is filled with retreads.
Right.
And it is also filled with those people who are like, well, I was pretty good at being an assemblyman. Let's see if I can be a county commissioner now. Absolutely. Right. And then there are those that have lost every single race they've ever been in, moved to another county, and then they're elected to some local job. That's absolute fact.
Yep.
But what I say is that I'd like to have my ability, if we have, and I know what a good job is because, I'm politically active. I know what that looks like. I don't like the idea of saying 2 terms and you are done.
I do.
Because
I do.
We have.
That's where we disagree.
We have so much good talent.
I don't care.
So much good talent.
I don't care. Be the mentors of the new people. But we cannot allow the same people to be in office 30, 40, and 50 years. They take advantage of it.
I'm not saying 30, 40, 50 years. I am saying a 2-term limit seems to be like just, first 4, you're learning the ropes. You're getting to know who your allies are. You're getting to figure out exactly what this job is about.
And you don't have any power. And you don't have any power.
Then your
I care a lot more about
money so you get elected so that you've got your second term to get something done. But then people don't want to work with you because they know you can't do anything after your term is over. So you lose a little bit of your power, but you do gain like the elder statesman vote.
Well, but Francis, here's the thing. Again, our founding fathers never intended for any of our politicians to be there 20, 30, 40 years to make it their job. It was supposed to be service. Thanks for calling, Francis. We're moving on to the next call. 877-619-3899 is the number. It's interesting to me that, Francis and I, we can disagree about this and move on and still be friends, right? I don't have to have her permission to move on with my life because we disagree. But something has to be done, whether it's not voting for any of the incumbents, whether it's not just voting at all, or whether we say, listen, we're going to play this fucking game just like they're playing it, and let's ballot harvest the fuck out of it. Something's got to be done. Something has to happen. Every weekday night, we are doing it right here on this, what was it, Rumble, Twitter, and YouTube. We're doing this live. We're doing call-ins. There was a number of call-ins that we got. We saw the lines ringing. Sorry we couldn't get to your calls. We'll get to them tomorrow night. If you call in and you can't get through and it puts you off into voicemail, do me a favor. Leave me a message. You don't have to leave your name and your number and all of that. Just tell me what's on your mind so that we can use it for the next show and so on, and use it for content, for promos and so on. We'd love to hear from you. The number is 877-619-3899. My name is Kramer. It is Monday. I'm sorry, I did that at the beginning of the show. It is Tuesday, March 28th, and we're out of here. That being said, I'll see you tomorrow or as soon as we can.
Get more at CramerSez.com. CramerSez.com.